What is up, GLG gamers? It's your boy GLG Ryan back at it again with a new deck. This is my newest and improved UTA deck that I've been playing around with. I have, really loved UTA since she released. I think as a film card, and the film engine with it is really good. A little inconsistent back when they first released her because she didn't have all the green cards she needed, but now she's got everything she needs. So let's just jump right into it and start talking more about how Uta works and the best cards to play with her. So, you know the leader ability. It's you give a 1 Dom when attacking, she can search out a film card. So you flip the top card of the deck. If it's film, you can add to your hand. Now the benefit with this new structure deck that just came out, you can now make a 100% hit rate film deck. And that's what I like to do because that guarantees you will always be able to use this leader ability effectively. So that's like the best way to play it in my opinion. I find the most success playing it this way. Always drawing as much as you can is awesome. Just getting different options is the best way to play in my opinion. But without further ado, going into these first couple cards, we got our 2Ks. I run 12 of. I always run 12 2Ks in most of my decks I play just because I think 12 is a safe number. I think the only one worth playing if you were to play it out is a Sanji because it adds power for every 3-rested Dawn, which is really good if you pair it with something like I'm Invincible, or maybe you pair it with the 9-drop Shanks. You can really do a lot of things that you 10-Dawn turn with this Sanji to get some big swings off with him. Maxed out, he can be up to 9k power, so really good paired with the Shanks at a 10-Dawn turn. But other than that, we're going to go into our 2-drop Traffy Law. This is my tech option. I run him as a tech option because, maybe on your 2-Dawn turn, because I like to go second personally, more draw, and you can start seeing your curve earlier. 2-drop Law on your second Dawn turn, your first turn, 2-Dawn, you play him out, you leave him on board for a bit. Maybe he sees some good action, maybe people use removal to get rid of him. Either way, he's kind of getting a use in, but for the most part, I usually see him laying on field for a while until later down the line, maybe it's your third turn or fourth turn, and you have an extra Dawn to spare, and you can just use that Dawn to pop this guy back to hand and play out something else, like a Katakuri or a Nami. So overall, I think this Traffy Law is fun to play with, but he's not consistent enough to run more than 2, in my opinion. Following that, we've got our Searcher. That is the Nami Searcher. I only run them at 3. A lot of people run them at 4. The reason why I run them at 3 is because, I just don't see Nami being as strong as she once was in terms of a Searcher, especially in the current meta, because you probably will only get 1 search out of her for the most part. And with the leader ability being 100% hit rate, it's not as great to always be playing the Nami, just because it will be cleared off board and it's just another card out of hand. The thing is, black being so strong, Nami's super easily KOable, and with things like Doffy being in the meta where the board is just full the whole time, the minute you swing with her and use her search ability, they're just going to swing their whole board into her until she's dead. So it's not worth leaving on the field sometimes. It can become kind of a pseudo blocker in that sense, but I think I just tried too hard to keep her alive, and it's just not worth it a lot of the times because she's not a big enough swing either. So I think Nami running at 3 is safe for me. Following Nami, we've got our boys that you always run. You run these on all the film decks that you can. It's the original Jinbei followed by the Luffy. So the Brook and the Luffy. Brook lets you play out a 3-cost or less film or Straw Hat. Luffy lets you play out a 4-cost or less film or Straw Hat. Both great cards. They're just turboing out more cards. Obviously, you can see the tech option. 7 into 4 into 3 is beautiful, especially with this new Katakuri. I prefer, if I'm going second, to go 4 into a 3 cat. And then when I'm at my 8-Dawn turn, I go 7 into a 4 Uta. That being because this Uta blocker is really, really good, but we'll get to that later. But these are just great cards to hold. This guy just gets you a good swing off, and this guy is not only can be used as a good swing, but also is a 7k blocker. So pretty big blocker, hard for them to swing over. They have to waste more Dawn to swing into you. You can 9 out of 10 times get a free block off and not have to worry about it. So this is just a great card to have in the deck. Need to have it at 4. Need to have it at 4 for both these guys. Following that, I run 4 of these UTA blockers. I like blockers in this deck. Blockers keep it alive. That's what green strives off of, is just blocking out of things and playing the long game sometimes. So I think this UTA right here is, just nice to have as another blocker in case you want to do a 7 into 4 into 3 this way and have another blocker on field. Following this UTA, we've got our new and improved UTA, the Structure Deck UTA. Now this is a 4-drop 6k blocker. Great blocker right off the gate. The best part about them, it is a deck cycling blocker. So now you're not limited to just playing out like a Brook or a Nami on turn 4. You can, have a better target for a forward on turn. Let's say you don't get that Brook into Nami turn or Brook into Katakuri turn because you can't find the Brook. You can actually play out this UTA now. And maybe, with this deck being the way it works, you might be bricked in hand, because you might have maybe a Shanks and a Blacklight, and maybe an I'm Invincible, and a Luffy, and maybe a Nami. I don't know. You might have just all the worst combinations ever. Well, you can actually trash one of those cards, give up to one of your leaders a rested Dawn, and swing with it. But it's your leader and a character, so it becomes really useful in the endgame as well. So, with that, you can pair that to basically cycle your deck to trash maybe one of your Shanks that are in hand, swing with the leader, reveal a card, and maybe you grab a 2k. So now you're getting counter out of hand. So it's, it's exactly what you want to see in terms of this deck to stop from that brickiness that you were finding, because these events are so good that you need to run a lot of them. But the problem is they're events at the end of the day, so they don't have counters. So it's nice to have something to cycle them out if need be. So this UTA blocker, great. Also great for endgame purposes to attach that Rested Dawn to a leader or a character. So if you use like an I'm Invincible, you can attach that one of those extra Dawns. So now you're just getting a free use out of it. It's awesome. Following that, one of my favorite cards, the Charlotte Katakuri. This came out in the structure deck as well. I think people sleep on this card way too much. This is essentially a 3-drop 6k. It's great for pressuring a board. Just like Nami, easily removable because it's only 3 cost, but against the right matchups, this card is a menace on the field. He is so good because, by your forward on turn, you play him out, you go Brook into him, 6 Dawn comes around, you can play, who knows, maybe you play a 4-drop UTA, and then you swing 6 with the leader. Okay, so that gives you 4 Dawn rested, your leader's now rested, and then you're going to give that last Dawn to your Charlotte Katakuri, or you could actually just give it to that Brook that you played out last turn, swing 6 with him, and now you have 6 cards rested. It's any cards. I think that's what people don't understand. It is any cards on your field that are rested. If you have 6 or more, that character gains plus 2,000 power. So by your 3rd turn, this guy is ready to start swinging for 6Ks, and he stays that way. He does not lose that 6K when the opponent's turn starts. No, it's 6K every time there's 6 more rested cards on your field. So he's essentially a constant 3-drop 6K on your field, so it's really, really good to have. Following that, I have reduced down to 9 Shanks. In the video you're going to see me playing, you'll see that Shanks was at 4. It's now at 3. That's because I just saw, a lot of people know how to play around this card. It's very easy to play around. You just don't rest your characters on certain turns. And then this 9 doesn't really have effect, so it's good to run him for sure, because it's one of the best KO cards for green that they have. Not only are you establishing an 11k body, but you're also establishing you're KOing something that's rested. So really good for something like your 10 rush. What's an ace? Portuguese ace? Yeah, that guy. He will rush into your face, and maybe you block it with something, because by that point in time, you should have blockers on field. You block that 10, and then you just kill it. And they do it again, and then you just kill it. It's awesome. It's really, really good against that type of stuff, especially just rush cards in general suffer a lot against this Shank. So I think this is a great card to have, but to have too many can be a little bit problematic at times. Moving on, I already talked about the new 2K Luffy, but going in just to the old faithfuls, we have our Blacklights. I only run 2 of them. That's just because that's my choice. I think Blacklight is, it's good for endgame material. It's good against Doffy to remove those rested characters, but it's not crucial in a lot of matchups. So running them at 2 is kind of how I like to see it. It allows you to rest up at 5 cost or lower and KO up 20 of your opponent's 5 cost or lower if you can choose one of those 2 abilities. So It's really good for that reason. New Genesis, you gotta run 4 of. It's a free searcher. You rest 1, and then it restands the dawn after you search. So you just always like get a free search off with this. It's like, why wouldn't you run this? This is ridiculous. And following that, I used to only run this at 3. I upped it to 4 in this my most current deck because it's so good for endgame. Like, I have won so many games with 2 I'm Invincibles in hand and like 1 Shanks on field, because now you're swinging 9k, 9k, 11k, and then you got 1 more I'm Invincible in there probably. So let's go another 9k. So you get 3 9k swings, followed up by an 11k swing to seal a game. I mean, that's just, you can't ask for more. It's so good. It's a better kit ability. So this is very crucial to the deck, and also the art on the new cards are cool. But the only other thing I would say, if you wanted to make an edit to this deck, you can take out these Traffy Laws, and I would add in 1 Nami and 1 Blacklight, just to have more ability to remove with the Blacklight, as well as have more ability to search. Or you could add in 2 Blacklights to really maximize on those events. Like I said, with this UTA on field, you can do a lot of deck cycling anyway, so it's not going to hurt too much. But yeah, so that's the deck. That's what I built. Well, without further ado, let's see it played. Alright, so getting into the first one here, we're going to be going against a Charlotte Katakuri. Now, this is, a new deck in the sense of it got some additions with its new structure deck. I took a look at my hand here, and I thought, I've found some blockers. That's really what I want to see. I had that new Genesis to play. He did choose to go second, which kind of plays towards my curve. You can see I'm running that Zoro. I took that out, like I said, but, I thought, might as well grab that Nami in case I want to establish that. This is when, in my mind, Nami was it's still really good, do not get me wrong, but also having played the Katakuri might not have been too bad either, because it would have been more pressure to his board as a whole. Just swinging 6k into leader, making him burn 2ks all live long day is way better than swinging a 5. So I play out that Nami, he goes Pudding. I do not remember. Yeah, he just 5, so I assume he's going to play Parasparrow. I counter out because in my mind, I can keep drawing, whereas, I don't want to be losing life. Because if he starts 10-momming me, it's going to be kind of hard going forward for sure. So as you can see, I draw out a Brook. I get pretty lucky with that. I really wanted to see that Brook, because now I can go Brook into either UTA or Katakuri. I think I go Cat, but I can't remember for sure. Looks like he got a trigger here. A lot of these triggers tend to be, with Katakuri at least, trash card, play a card, just like that Satori. So that hurts him more than it hurts me, because a lot of these times, when they choose to trash the cards that they are playing out, to play out a card, they choose to trash a card, they're just trying to play quick to win the game. The issue with that is Katakuri needs to survive to the end, at least his 10-Dawn turn, to start 10-momming, and if he starts, trashing all these cards out of hand before he even gets to his 10-mom turn, I'm comfortable with that, because that just means that when it comes to 10-mom, he's going to have maybe 2-3 cards in hand at best. He's going to 10-mom. It's not going to mean a thing to me, because I'm going to have blocker galore with this green deck that I'm running, and he's just going to have to deal with it. So there's nothing he can do. I cannot start swinging into his life willy-nilly, so him trashing cards helps me, if anything. You see, I take that life here, and I'm going to take this next one as well, just because I don't want to burn a 2k, 1k to get out of that one, and I didn't want to burn my UTA blocker. I think the UTA blocker was just way too valuable. The 3 drop, of course, not the 4. I swing 5, and then I do 5 again into face this time, because I'm not too worried about the Parasparrow swinging 5, especially when I'm going to do a 7-4 on field. And just to show you an example of this cat hurting, right out the gate, if you look at his hand, he is at 4 cards in hand, only 8 Dawn. To me, that's just, usually these type of decks want to play exactly their curve. So in my mind, I'm thinking he's got 7-mom, he's going to play the 7-mom, so I'm just going to let him swing 7, block it, counter out, do whatever I need to make sure that I'm surviving. Yeah, here I think I want to save the Brook, so I just block it and then counter. And then he's going to 7 mom, and I think I give him the life? No, I trash my life. Okay, yeah, so I have blockers on field, so I'm thinking I don't really need to worry too much because I can swing with these blockers and still put more blockers on field. He doesn't want to save his board right now. He's not going to want to. It's going to be really, really bad for him if he starts trying to save his board because he has not enough cards to survive. The one thing he can prey on is if his triggers start doing some damage. I actually swing 7 with my blocker. See, a Parasparrow to play that out, not a good move. This game ends pretty quickly. I think it ends this turn actually because he starts making moves like this where he plays something out like a Parasparrow. He's got 2 cards in hand. I always assume they have a Big Mom, a 10 drop, so I'm thinking he does not have a 2k, 1k. Sure enough, he doesn't. Plays out the Kikinojo, just showing me he only has 2 cards in hand. This guy is not willing to play correctly at all. I go and I swing another 7 here because I'm thinking, oh, if I swing 7, he burns these 2 cards. I can swing and then swing again and just win the game. Here he gets another trigger. It doesn't matter because now I'm just going to swing all out and win the game. Now he built this board, but the problem here, I'm going to pause it here and just let you guys see. So the problem here, like I said, Katakuri does not want to go that low in hand that quickly because then they're relying solely on their triggers, and that's a problem. So they did have that 10 mom in hand, but they weren't even able to play it out. They didn't even get to that turn because I was just so aggressive against them with the the speed I built this board at and with clearing the bodies on their field. It was so easy for me to just apply the pressure with this big board that I established, especially with these cards that I'm invincible. And I think it was after this game that I decided I'm invincible needs to be up to 4 because the ability to win the game off of this was just awesome. It was amazing. It was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. So yeah, I would have been able to, let's say I did swing 7 here and they didn't have the big mom and he had a 1k. He counters out of it. He has no cards in hand. I can swing 7. He can, freeze whatever. It doesn't matter, or do whatever with that trigger that he wants to. And then I'm invincible again and win the game because there's nothing he can do because he didn't have beige or anything in life. So as a whole, that was a 1 game based off of just, knowing how to play against something like a Katakuri where they do not want to be trashing those cards. Here we are in a new game. We're playing against a Yamato, green yellow with the double attack leader. I look at my hand and I see here, I'm thinking I got some 2Ks, I got a blocker. Not in love with it, but I don't know if I keep it or not here. I think I choose to mulligan. I do because I was trying to see my Nami Searcher as well as a Brook because I wanted to start establishing a board really quickly. The reason for that is, you build up a big board against these people, and then you just start swinging big for the end of the game, because usually they'll just swing big into you the whole time and just try to win that way. The thing is, when I mulliganed, I did end up, getting no counter in hand and 1 blocker, so I have to now start searching for counter and playing it kind of a little more smart to actually establish a board and still stay alive and not go down super low in 1 turn. So here I just swing 5 so I can play the Brook into the Nami. Again, just trying to establish a board so that way I can start swinging in for a lot, and then he has to start worrying more about my board more than my face. And here I believe the enemy goes Nami and then tries to swing 8 to get a banish off. I don't know why they went and did that option. They saw me draw 2Ks. But I guess they just weren't quite, it was kind of a misplay on that part. They weren't quite paying attention to my draws, so easily able to 2k out of this and get to 9. And now I can search back a lot of cards because I've got the Nami as well as the leader ability, so a lot of effect going on here, and I'm going to start being able to burn out a lot of cards. I'm going to grab more 2Ks because I'm going to need more counter as this goes on. But I think I'm just going to go 5-5 and then probably go a 6 and try to hope that I get a blocker. I don't. I get another 2K, which is good, so I think I just established I'm going to go with Katakuri, play that card out. Great card to establish pressure, though, so, well worth it. If this guy chooses to do a Nami banish here, not much I can do against that. I'm just going to have to play, very smart the next turn, just start hoping and praying that I see more blockers so I can Luffy into the blockers. But I don't think he does. I think he does try to swing big into my life, but I don't quite remember. The one thing about this Yamato deck that's pretty unfortunate is playing against the deck that I'm playing, I can search a lot of counter, and I can search out blockers, and this deck runs a lot of blockers, the Uta deck does, so, that's the inverse of what Yamato wants to see. They don't want to be seeing blockers, they don't want to be seeing a bunch of cards in hand, it's worse for them in the long run than it is for me. So, I'm swinging in my Nami. I decided to counter out of it because I'm thinking, I can just swing with them and get that card back. It's not a problem for me. I do get the 7-drop Luffy, so I'm just going to swing into that. And then I think I grab the blocker here. I think that's the right option. Yeah, exactly. So that way I can go 7 into 3, and I can swing everything else too. So, from here on out, it's just me attacking their face, really hammering it down. If I go, they gnaw me out the, gnaw me out the Nami. That's crazy. But that was a misplay. They wanted to get rid of my searcher. They didn't realize what the cat does. They should have gotten rid of that cat swing because that was a big swing. Just like the cat game we played, this guy had to trash guard to play out that Shanks. Not the right option. I mean, this game is over. You can just tell. There's nothing he's going to be able to do following this turn. He can try to swing everything he can. I think he misplays here and he ends up giving up. But even still, I think I was, I was going to be fine because I had a 2k. He had to get through 3 life. He could have gone. The best option was for him. This is where he misplayed. He didn't really know this, but what he should have done was go 7 with the Yamato, just the leader, grab the double strike, and then attach the Dawn to this guy, swing with him, and then swing with him, and you got some 8k swings as well as the 7k swing, and you would have just, had a little bit more comfortable. I think I was able to get out of it regardless, but yeah, here he swings for a double attack. I just 2k out of it. I don't think I would have gotten anything good in these lives. I don't recall. I think I got pretty lucky here that he misplayed. But regardless, this clapback would have been, impossible for him to come back on. Yeah, he can swing whatever he wants to here. It doesn't change anything. Because, going forward, I've got the black light in. I'm just going to rest the blocker. So I just GG early and, swing it all and then I win. I could just go 7. I don't need to be sitting here trying to play with all my Dawn. So to finish it all off, that's basically how the deck runs. The idea is you try to just establish a big board, big field. That 7 into the 4-drop Uta is great. You saw that Katakuri was doing some damage. Always being a 6k body is great. 3-drop 6k. You didn't really get to see a whole lot of the Shanks played, but like I said, he's very few and far between when he comes into play. He's very useful though. So, that's kind of how I like to run it. Like I said, you can switch out the Straffy Law for whatever you really want to. I don't see it being 100% needed, but I like to run it as a tech option. So, thank you for watching, and, as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and GLG out.